Another fine day in paradise. Welcome to Sofia. Now, when a city is growing, there are always opportunities for those who want to build. And in these buildings, you can tell in what direction it's going to happen. Look, for example, that old building there, going back to the beginning of the 20th century. And aside, there's a new one being built. Quite opportunistic architecture, I would say. And then, if we walk a little further on the other side of the road, you see this new kind of architecture. And you see in the reflection the old buildings at the other side of the road, how it looked like some 100 years ago. Now we're gonna talk with someone who might be able to tell us in what direction Sofia is heading to with its architecture.
Работих в търговска компания, след което приключихме с моят партньор и реших, че трябва да започна да се занимавам с строителство, така го усещах. Взех един мъничък парцел, който е в центъра на София и започнахме да работим. И още първата сграда получи доста награди. Има голям късмет да работя с Наско Панов. Той е един от най-добрите архитекти в София. И той самия, работата ми с него беше една школа. Мисля, той ми разказваше за архитектурата и ми говореше за сградите и за отношението на сградите и хората. И това ми повлия на мен и това ме накара да започна и втора сграда след това.
You develop a philosophy, of course. And what's the philosophy then?
И за всяка сграда има различна философия, която е за офисните сгради. Общо взето правим така, че максимално да бъдат удобни за обитаване самите офиси. И гледаме самите офиси да бъдат максимално с добро разпределение, така че да помагат на хората да работят в тези сгради. А философията е да живеят и да работят в нещо много красиво. Защото така по мое наблюдение виждам, че хората, които купуват при нас жилища и офиси, след години почват да се променят. Така че има и възпитателна роля самата сграда.
Officially welcome to the free Sofia tour. As you may have learned or may have read, this is a tour organized by a non-profit organization. We're all volunteers, not all of us are professional guides. I'm actually among the professionals among us, but don't look at me as a guide. I'll be your friend at least for the next couple of hours. Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria, but has been a capital for just a bit more than 100 years. This might be a bit surprising because there has been a settlement here for thousands of years. Probably around 4,000 to 6,000 years before Christ, these lands have been inhabited. This is the place where you can see the whole history of Sofia from one and the same spot. Everywhere you turn, as I said, it's almost like a time machine. You have a church from the 10th century, you have a Soviet-era hotel over there, you have the shopping mall of the Soviet times on the other side. We're going to the mosque from the 16th century. We're going to make a quick stop at the 11th century in a metro station. And while digging in a metro station, they found the remains of a whole Roman city, the city of Serdica. 8 different types of mineral waters coming out of 50 different springs all over the city. It's completely drinkable, good for everyday use, has a very clear taste, doesn't have any bad smell like some mineral waters have. So this is just one of the treasures of Sofia, and I'll definitely recommend everybody to try it. And after you try it, you'll realize why I'm continuing to speak loud, because I don't want the first people who tried to ruin my surprise, because the first thought that crossed your mind was, whoa, it's warm, right?
Yeah, I was looking on the map because I was lost, kind of lost. The best way, of course, to do a city is under the guidance of a good city guide. And we found one. This is your place in Sofia.
This is my place. This is one of the most mainstream places. This is one of the most touristy spots here, but it's very, very special for me because I was abroad for a couple of years. Before that, I spent all my life basically in Sofia. And before I came back, I thought that this place is really random. I find it really interesting and even exotic that Sofia doesn't have a historic center with buildings from the same period. This might be too sterile. How do you call that in English? I don't know. Might be too sterile is the word I'm looking for. As you say, it's really, really mixed, and that's what people like about Sofia. Actually, it's a whole different world. It's actually a couple of worlds in one spot.
Well, with a little fantasy, you could imagine yourself being in, well, the Mediterranean. But we are in Sofia. Now, this is the building you were talking about, eh?
Да, това е комбинацията от многото сгради, които са многото къщи, които са направени, които са компилирани в една обща сграда. И се чувства и доста интересно. Това е най-награждаваната сграда в София.
Well, what have we got here?
Просто имаме сгради за всеки. Това, че има различни сгради, според мен това не пречи. Хубаво е да има всякакви сгради. Но когато един град не се разпознава, тогава вече нещата стават по-опасни, защото всеки иска да живее на място, където да има някаква идентичност. Значи, ако отидеш в Париж, примерно, и виждаш почките, по почките можеш да си направиш една снимка и да разбереш, че си в Париж. Или ако видиш пейките, примерно, можеш да разбереш, че си в Париж. В София е хубаво точно да не се гледа да бъдат унифицирани самите сгради, защото е хубаво да има сгради за всякакви хора. А е хубаво да се направи така, че да има идентичност в самия град. Всеки говори за голяма архитектура, но трябва да се почне от малките неща. Табелките на улицата, смисъл на сградите, където се също трябва да се унифицират, така че да бъдат еднакви. Това са древни неща, които дават уют в самия град.
So every morning the goods are brought in and the fresh vegetables and the meat and
Some nuts over there. Everything you can think of. I mean, I love this place because whatever you need, you can find it here. And it's also one of the few places where I had these specialized shops. I mean, you have a shop for buttons, you have a shop for coffee, you have a shop for spices. You don't get this anymore. You have these huge supermarkets, might be a stand, but this is a shop just for nuts and stuff like that. So if you need nuts, this is the place to go.
what is he selling? What are you selling?
Mice poison. Mice poison. If you have mouses in your house, you might let's say rats.
And can you ask him if it works?
Работи ли отровата?
Да, много силно. Това е тибиширчета, хлебарки.
За хлебарки? This is for cockroaches.
Ефтино е, 2 лева е, 2 лева.
Ма какво го правиш?
Ти чертава се, чертаваш.
Окей, да, чертаваш.
Чертаваш и те просто изчезват. А това струва 2 лева и е много по-ефтино.
Ма как изчезват? Убива ли ги или...
Направо изчезва, просто ги няма с години.
Well, it's quite a climb to get here, but it's well worth, as you have in this neighborhood the south part of Sofia, a magnificent view across the city, and it's therefore one of the most favorite parts of Sofia to live for those who can afford, of course, and for those who are expats. Okay, well, let's have a talk over there.
Okay.
In this typical diplomatic setting.
Well, I don't know if it's typical. It's typical diplomatic furniture in maybe a typical American diplomatic house.
What's your first opinion when you arrived here in Europe, and then in Bulgaria, and then in Sofia?
Well, I've been working in Europe before, but my first opinion in coming to Sofia was the mountains. This is the first time I've ever lived somewhere where you can see mountains every day from, various points in the city. And so I still find myself staring at them all the time because I've never been around a setting like that before.
Well, you explained the geographical context now, but how about the city itself?
Well, the city itself I like because I like the people that I've met so far, but I will say it's not the most beautiful place that I've lived, Sofia. Some of the other cities I've seen in Bulgaria are more beautiful. But there are parts, there are different buildings and some of the historical buildings and some of the parks that are very beautiful and I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. What would you change then?
Well, I would dig a giant canal and put a river in the middle of the city because I think one thing that's very noticeable here for a city this old and this large is there's no river with a nice boardwalk. But especially now that the weather's warm, there's great outdoor cafes, some of which stay open pretty late, and that is great. And it always feels like a very safe place, even late at night, to walk around in the center. And then it's very easy to get a taxi and come home when you're ready to come home. It's a very easy place to live and have fun.
It's such a neat neighborhood. It must be very pleasant to live here.
This actually used to be the richest part of the town. This was the Jewish neighborhood. Now it has a more oriental feeling, you might say.
You see so much wonderful trees here. And what about the pavement? It's a classical pavement.
It's a classical pavement, and the funny thing about it that this whole street used to be with asphalt, just like that. A couple of years ago, but they changed the plumbing, the water pipes, and they put cobblestones back. In the 21st century, they put the old cobblestones that they used for the tanks to pass. So this whole street got a feeling from the past.
So that's respect for the past. They did it obviously.
Some people say it might be the worst part of the city actually, because this is the downtown, and just like any European capital, the downtown is not the most pleasant place to live. But I think it's safer than most other cities, and I actually really like living in the very city center of Sofia.
And where do you live?
I live just 2 blocks from here, this way. Let's go.
So if you don't know this, you wouldn't say it's a door. Once you're inside, you cannot go out. It's like in a Tati film, I would say. Especially the sound.
Това са заседателните зали. Тук идват нашите клиенти, където им презентираме самите сгради. Тук имаме едно табло на новата ни сграда. Това е Red Apple. This is the Red Apple.
Oh, this is the last one?
Ага.
Wow. Can you tell something about it? It looks...
Значи сградата е инсценирана, смисъл сградата е така инспирирана от нюйоркски стил на изграждане на тази сграда. Характерното за нея е, че цялата сграда е с старена тухла като облицовка. Имаме много метал и много зеленина. В момента пазар е такъв, че се купуват скъпи неща и много ефтини. Така че ние сме се насочили към скъпите.
Here we see that's Red Apple. And I think it will be the greatest building in Sofia.
Хубаво е, като се влиза в самата сграда, да имаш усещането, че това е фоайе, защото повечето жилищни сгради ги правят много притеснени с малки входове, докато тук сме го направили да стане много осъзнано и много голямо.
So, and there's...
Това е Витоша. И тук никога няма да има сграда, така че винаги ще се вижда град планината.
So can you tell me where we are? This is a magnificent place.
It is. It's called the Golden Bridge, Zlatny Most in Bulgarian. And I mean, I don't need to say a whole lot. You can see anyone would find this to be a very beautiful place, but it's like a river of rocks spilling down the side of the mountain, and you can hear the water flowing underneath, so it feels like you're sitting on a river, but you see no movement, and it's a very unique effect, I think.
It's kind of a freeze frame of movement that once was.
Exactly, and you just imagine at some point these rocks rolling and flowing down the mountain.
This is what you meant, that makes a city. I mean, if this is so close to you, then you maybe have comments on the architecture or the beauty of the city, but nothing can beat this.
Right. This becomes part of the local culture, and it's, you know, it feeds into, I think, the life of the city, where there's this, I don't know, people can sort of come here and ventilate and escape from the center and come to a place like this so easily. You know, I think it affects the character of the place.
So this is an average apartment here in
Well,
Sofia?
I don't think it's average apartment based on what I've seen. I'm blessed as a diplomat. They found a very nice apartment, and it's sort of a bureaucratic formula that they use to determine what size apartment you get and where it is based on how many kids you have and all these sorts of things and how senior you are. And I was fortunate for a variety of reasons to get a very large apartment, too large for one person. I like maps, and I always have maps wherever I live. And this map, Bulgaria, I decided to try to remember all the places that I've gone in Bulgaria. And so I'm drawing a red line to all these cities in Bulgaria.
You've done this all by car?
Yes, this is all by car. We are here on right there. Yeah. And this is South Park. And then this is NDK, the National Palace of Culture, which a lot of people don't like, and they talk about how ugly it is and this sort of this socialist monstrosity in the middle of the city. But I kind of like it, and it's very functional, and it's kind of a center for a lot of cultural events and a lot of bars and nightclubs, and I find myself there for one reason or another at least once a week for some different event. Mm-hmm. And I find it a very useful, functional place in the center.
Това са ни наградите през годините, които сме взимали. Имаме награда, която е сграда на годината. Само да погледна. Значи имаме за 2004 година сграда на годината. Това е сградата, която е на Озунджовска. Това е първата сграда, която получихме. Това е фасада на студента, която е от Баумит. Това е фасада на годината. Имаме награди Мис Ван дер Рое, 2 номинации на 2 от сградите, което за България това е много голям успех. И имаме 2 награди Визар за архитектура.
My mother would say, well done, boy.
Българските награди са хубави, но е хубаво да се мериме с Европа, с най-добрите, които са в Европа. Сигурно звучи доста така абстрактно за България или за български предприемач, но това е пътя, по който трябва да се развиваме.
Okay, come in. This is the living room. You're welcome. Let's take a seat here.
So this would be an average Sofian apartment?
I don't think it's an average. I mean, it's hard to say what's average. In this area, this is very typical. This used to be the Jewish neighborhood, so that's why it's so spacious. This used to be the rich neighborhood. You can see that the ceiling is quite high here. Huge rooms, more than 150 square meters is the whole apartment. So I'm not sure if it's average.
Could you compare it with any other city you've been visiting?
Yeah, I can definitely compare it to Brussels, for example. I was also living in the center of Brussels. It was the downtown, and again, it had this feeling of a rundown place, a bit dangerous, maybe some strange people in the night. It's not very safe. It wouldn't feel safe. It might be safe, but it wouldn't feel safe walking alone in the dark. In Prague, it was the same. The center of Prague is also similar, I guess. The downtown of in Paris, I've been a tourist in Paris, and still has the feeling that it might not be the best area to walk around alone at night.
Well, lots of people ask me, can you tell you're going to Sofia? We've never been there. Can you describe the city? I say, well, that's very hard. It's a mix of everything.
That's a good description. That's a good description. That's how they describe it, actually, in newspapers and when foreigners write about it. First thing that they say that they were surprised by Sofia, because you either have no perception of Sofia or you have a bad perception about Sofia. Sometimes you hear bad things about it, but people are pleasantly surprised by the city and the fact how mixed it is.
You could say Sofia is a treasure that you have to find out yourself.
I couldn't say it better.
Is this what you meant with bringing New York to Sofia?
Идеята беше да направим един небостъргач, който да бъде омален небостъргач в София, така че да покажем, че в София може да има такива сгради.
Normally, a building like this would look massive, and now he has given it a human scale, and that's what I like.
Мисля, че българската архитектура си има доста така дълги традиции. И съчетанието на българската архитектура, българските традиции, които са с новите тенденции в архитектурата, биха могли така да се получи нещо много интересно. И си мисля, че в близко бъдеще тези неща ще се видят. По-рано си мислих, че наистина всеки град има страшно много архитектура, но хубавите неща, качествените, в световен мащаб не са толкова много. И всеки град има така парченца от тази световна архитектура и затова много ми се иска това да се случи в София. Примерно както човек отива в Мадрид и вижда на Херцог де Морон сградата и там минават туристическите автобуси. По този начин ми се иска и в София да има такива емблематични сгради.
I don't know if Sofia will become sort of a global superstar of cities that people think of when they think of amazing, exciting cities. But I think it has very strong potential to be known as kind of a hidden gem, a city where people who have some experience in traveling and who have done some research will be drawn to a place like Sofia for what it has to offer in terms of culture, in terms of being close to beautiful nature, it's a gateway towards exploring the rest of Bulgaria, which is an incredibly beautiful place.
Anywhere you live, you would probably hate a lot of things, the everyday stuff, the tiles broken. But I think I started to appreciate the city much more, and I think I can show that love to the people visiting here. I think that's the most important thing. They can see that I really like this city.